In a small village nestled between rolling green hills and sparkling blue streams lived a curious little girl named Mira. Mira was known all around the village for her bright smile, her tinkling laughter, and her endless questions about the world. She wondered why the sun rose every morning, why the clouds drifted like giant cotton balls, and why the stars twinkled as if whispering secrets. But most of all, Myra wondered about magic, whether it was real, whether it lived only in stories, or whether it could one day appear before her eyes. One crisp morning, when the dew still clung to the grass like tiny pearls, Myra set out on her usual walk to the Whispering Woods. The woods got their name because when the wind blew gently, the leaves rustled in a way that sounded just like soft whispers. Mira loved to explore the woods, imagining that the trees were telling ancient tales. She skipped along the winding path until she reached her favorite Sparta wide, clearing where sunlight poured down like liquid gold. As she stepped into the clearing, something unusual caught her eye. A soft glow shimmered on the ground beneath a tall oak tree. Curious, Myra tiptoed closer, her heart fluttering like a small bird. There, resting gently on a cushion of moss, was a single golden feather. It sparkled so brightly that Mira had to blink. She reached down slowly, feeling a warm, tingling sensation as her fingers touched it. She lifted the feather, marveling at how light and delicate it felt. Suddenly, a gentle breeze blew through the clearing, and a voice soft echoing and musical whispered, "Whoever holds the golden feather holds the power of one wish. Use it wisely." Myra froze, her eyes widening. "A wish." She whispered back, though she wasn't sure if the feather could hear her. Her mind began to swirl with endless possibilities. She could wish for toys, sweets, or to never do chores again. But something deep inside her told her that a magic feather like this deserved a wish far more meaningful. Still holding the feather, she hurried home, eager to show her grandmother, whom she called Nani. Nani was the wisest person in the village. She knew every story, every legend, and every secret hidden in the Whispering Woods. When Myra burst into their small cozy kitchen, Nani looked up from kneading dough and smiled warmly. "Nani, look what I found," Myra exclaimed, holding out the shining feather. Nani's eyes twinkled as she gently touched it. "Ah," she murmured, "the golden feather of wishes. I have heard its story since I was a child, but it appears only to one with a pure heart." Myra felt her cheeks warm. "Is it really magic? Can I really make a wish?" "Yes," Nani said, "but only one wish, and it must come from the goodness inside you." The feather's magic responds not to desire, but to kindness. Myra sat quietly, thinking. She wanted to choose the perfect wish, one that would make the world a little brighter. Days passed, and she carried the feather everywhere, waiting for her heart to tell her the right wish. She thought about her village, where everyone lived simply and happily. But one problem always troubled Myra during the long, dry summer. The river shrank, the crops struggled, and the villagers worked tirelessly to save every drop of water. One afternoon, as Mira watched the farmers try to coax life from the thirsty soil, her heart tightened. She whispered to herself, "If only I could bring rain when we need it." At that moment, she knew exactly what her wish should be. Holding the feather tightly, she ran back to the whispering woods, her feet barely touching the ground. She reached the clearing where she had first found the feather and stood beneath the tall oak tree. A warm wind wrapped around her like a gentle hug. She lifted the feather high above her head. "I wish," she said loudly and bravely, "for my village to always have enough water, for the river to stay full, and for the rains to come when we need them most." The feather glowed brighter and brighter until Mira had to close her eyes. A soft whooshing sound filled the clearing, and when she opened her eyes, the feather dissolved into hundreds of tiny golden sparks that floated upward into the sky, disappearing like fireflies. Mira waited, wondering what would happen. Then a rumbling sound echoed across the sky. Dark clouds gathered overhead, thick and full. A cool drop of rain landed on Mira's nose. She giggled as more drops followed, falling faster and faster until the rain came pouring down. It wasn't a storm, it was gentle, nourishing rain that smelled of life and new beginnings. The villagers rushed out of their homes, lifting their faces in joy. Farmers danced in the fields, children splashed in puddles. Nanny smiled proudly at Mira. The river swelled back to life, shining like a ribbon of silver. From that day forward, the village never struggled with water again. Whenever the crops grew thirsty, rain clouds would gather just in time. Word spread across the hills and valleys of the kind-hearted girl who used her one wish not for herself, but for the good of everyone. Sometimes Mira would return to the whispering woods and sit beneath the old oak tree, wondering if the feather still watched over her. She felt no regret for using her wish. Instead, her heart felt light, knowing she had made a difference. As the years passed, Mira grew into a wise young woman, and the villagers often came to her for guidance. Whenever children asked her if magic was real, Mira would smile and say, "Magic lives where kindness lives." And sometimes, if your heart is pure, it might just appear as a golden feather. And though she never saw the feather again, she knew that somewhere, hidden in the world, another golden feather waited patiently for the next kind-hearted soul who would use its magic for something wonderful. The end.